Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leranzo Temba, and I am the spokesperson for the Police Ministry of South Africa. It is indeed my honor and pleasure to be facilitating today's press conference, but it's more than just a press conference. It is a meeting that is marking 1 year of Shanela, Operation Shanela, which has been on everyone's lips, on every TV station, on every newspaper, on every magazine, and certainly on everyone's lips. So with that, I would like to welcome everyone to this very special occasion in the SAPS calendar. And if you allow me, Minister, I'd like to just introduce everyone who is in the room this morning. The Minister of Police is joined by his deputy, Mr. Shanela Briefing. The National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, General Fanny Masimula, is also here with us today. He is joined by the Deputy National Commissioner for Policing, and that is Lieutenant General Musikiri. And to the left of Lieutenant General Musikiri is Lieutenant General Sibiya, who is also responsible for crime detection and is the Deputy National Commissioner. Today, we do have the 9 provincial commissioners of the provinces. We also do have the editors of some of the most reputable and respected newspapers, television stations, radio stations, and generally just newsrooms in the country. We also do have crime analysts that have joined us today. And we do also, Minister, have the divisional commissioners as well as the component heads that are joining us, and very senior management as well as very senior officers of the SAPS are here with us today. So it is a full house. We hope that we'll have robust conversations. After we have finished up the meeting, we will allow for question and answers, and we'll then wrap up the meeting. So with that, Minister, I would like to invite you to give us some opening remarks and to take it from there. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Deputy Minister of Police, Shanela Briefing, National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, General Fanny Masimula, with your deputies that are here, representing the National Head of the DPCI, Lieutenant General Mosipi. As I've said, National Commissioners, deputies are here. Provincial Commissioners, all of them are here, if not here. They are represented, divisional commissioners, senior officers, news editors, crime analysts, members of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I welcome you all to the special sitting of the Operation Shanela meeting. This meeting takes place every Monday morning and is visually attended by the top management of the South African Police Service, led by the National Commissioner of the SAPS, General Masimula, Provincial Commissioners, Divisional and Component Heads of the SAPS, and the meeting is chaired by the Minister of Police. Each week, we come together on Monday morning to scan the country, discuss in depth weekly crime picture and operational intervention on policeable crimes. This week marks 1 year of Operation Shanela, a policing intervention of increased crime prevention and combating action plan. This constitutes of high-density, disruptive actions and proactive crime prevention operations by the SAPS. The actual date of the launch was the 8th of May last year, so today is 6th, so we're almost there. We're a few hours away to make a full year. Operation Shanela is intensified from Thursday up until the early hours of Monday. This is guided by our crime patterns analysis, which informs us that most crimes are reported to the police during these times. For the first time in the history of this policing intervention, we have opened up this high-level meeting to South Africans through this media engagement. This morning, we are joined by editors of some of the most reputable newsrooms in the country. I welcome you to our meeting. We also welcome in this meeting crime analysts who each day provide commentary to the South Africans and the world on the police ability to fulfill constitutional mandates of preventing, investigating, combating, and enforcement against crime by the South African police. Operation Shanela has and continues to be rolled out across the country, led by provincial commissioners of each province. While the SAPS remain in the forefront of Operation Shanela, the successes of Operation Shanela are as results of collaborative efforts through integrated operations. We continue to collaborate and appreciate the role played by the South African National Defence Force, national and provincial traffic police officers, metro police departments, municipality traffic, the Department of Home Affairs, the South African Revenue Services, and other government departments. I would like to use this meeting to demonstrate to the country that a year since the inception of the Operation Shanela, SAPS remains intentional in its approach to fight crime. The SAPS remains unapologetic in its decisive stance to fight crime and criminality together with other law enforcement agencies. The role of active citizen participation in the prevention and combating crime continues to gain momentum. Community policing fora and community patrollers, as well as private security, have been very active in the support and are playing a crucial role in the overall success of Operation Shanela. It is in this note that I hand over to the National Commissioner to take the country through in-depth look at the Operation Shanela from the 8th of May last year to date. National Commissioner, together with those that will be taking us through what we have been doing every Monday without fail since 8th May last year, looking at these matters and trying to make South Africa safe through our policy. National Commissioner.
Good morning to everybody, editors and viewers. I would like to take this opportunity to then present to you Major General Slepe, who will be taking us through the high-density operations that we have been doing since the inception of Shanela up to now. That will include number of arrests, successes, confiscations, operations in all various provinces, including the consolidated feedback. General Slepe, thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, Deputy Minister, the National Commissioner, senior officers that are in here, and the different media houses that are here with us. I am going to present to yourselves the successes that we have achieved since the inception of Operation Shanela in May last year to date. We had a total of 71,576 operations under the umbrella Operation Shanela that has been conducted. In terms of the arrests, you will see we had a total of 616,423 arrests. Just to give you a few breakdown of those, we've had arrests under your contravention of your firearms, which is 3,418. We've had possessions of firearms. We've also had failure to prescribe records. We've also had arrests under your liquor, dealing in liquor, a total of 19,192. And we've also had possessions of counterfeit goods. We had a total of 5,041 of those arrests, just to mention those. And in terms of the driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, we had 17,903 arrests. Theft out of motor vehicles, we had 2,323. And we also had arrests for human trafficking, a total of 183. And other crimes included there, we had a total of 87,728. We've had a number of seizures during operations and recoveries, and of worth noting, you will see that we had a total of 49,276 explosives which were recovered during Operation Shanela. We've had a total of 22,525 firearms made out of your handguns, your homemade guns, your rifles, which were confiscated during Operation Shanela. A total of 89,360. Those are the ammunitions which were recovered during Operation Shanela. We've also recovered 228,488 abalone, alcoholic beverages. Those we measure them in terms of in liters. We had a total of close to 1.8 or 1.792,000. The cash in rands as well, we had 5,824,000. We've also had contraband goods that we recovered, which is 167,202,327. We all know that we have problems with the infrastructure in terms of your copper and copper cables that were recovered. In kgs, we had 173,997. Total in items of your counterfeit goods, we know that we have issues with the fake goods. We had 2,704,028, which were confiscated by the South African Police Service. In terms of the diamonds, we had 7,718. We've also confiscated various drugs. We had in kgs 747,259 kgs of drugs. We've had Dacha plant as well, 20,239 of those. We've also confiscated cocaine in grams, 918,536. We've also had drugs, crack cocaine in grams, 126,779. Crystal meth, another drug, in grams we've had 264,985. Heroin, we've had 76,000 in grams, 106 of those. Your other drugs, your nyaupe and wunga, we've had 76,104 of those. Ecstasy, we've had 13,502. In terms of the total tablets, Mendrex, that we have confiscated during Operation Shanela, we've had 614,206. Drugs, Mendrex in powder, those we measure them in grams, we've had 237,033. We also have a problem with your prescription drugs that we normally confiscate during Operation Shanela at places like your spaza shop and those illegal places. We've had 157,614 of those. Those are the other seizures and recoveries that we had. We all know that we have the issues in your fuel pipelines where petrol is being stolen. From there, we've had 480,645 liters being confiscated by the police. In terms of your precious metals, things like your copper, your platinum, your silver, All of those, we've had 126,350. Precious stones, your ruby, sapphire, and opal, we had 19,678 during Operation Shanela. We also have a problem in terms of your illicit tobacco. We have confiscated a total of 1,791,601 tobacco in packets and cigarettes. We've also confiscated vehicle parts, 4,604. We've confiscated 3,078 vehicle parts, and we've also had vessels being confiscated, 310, and your boats, 10 of those. These are the operations that, the confiscations that we did during Operation Shanela. Over and above that, the detectives conduct your wanted suspect raids, and during Shanela, parallel to the VSPOL operations that are taking place, the detectives were able to trace 134,522 suspects which were wanted for various crimes. Your robberies, both business and house robbery, 700 and 796 respectively. For carjacking, 333. For murder, they were able to arrest 2,547 of those. In terms of rape, those suspects which were wanted for rape, it's 3,286. For your assault, GBH is 26,307. Illegal possession of firearm, we've had 1,100. And that brings us to the total of 134,000. And I submit, Minister. Thank you.
Thanks, General Silepe. We will now get to case management in terms of what has happened to those people that have been arrested. I will call Major General Mohale to do a presentation in this regard.
Thank you, National Commissioner. Good morning, Honorable Minister, Honorable DM, Deputy National Commissioners, Divisional Commissioners and Provincial Commissioners, all media house present. Can you maybe go through the presentation? Jerry. I must just move from here. Jerry, come to your home. Thank you, Minister. Since the operation of Shanela, the inception of Shanela, from the detective side, we are now at like 8 years. I'm going to start with the contact offenses, which amounts to your murder, attempted murder, rape, common robbery, assault GBH, assault common, house robberies, business robberies, carjacking, truck jackings, and cash in transit. Since the inception of Shanela, in a total cases of 100,193, we had a total suspects arrested of 113,889, whereby 82,345 of those were in custody in that period, and 16,947 were released on SAPS 496. 455 of those were released on 583, of which were minors. And the 4,887 were released on J398 bail, and 6,780 were released on J399 bail. 2,138 of those were given J534, and 436 were given J175. Minister, the next category, which is the property-related crimes, which includes your burglary residential, burglary business, theft of motor vehicle, theft out of motor vehicle, and stock theft. In that category of property-related offenses, we had a total of 11,058 cases, whereby 13,334 persons were arrested, of which 13,036 were in custody in that period. 52 of them were minors, 82 were given 398, 89 were given J399, and 75 were on J175. Contact-related offenses, which is your arson and malicious damage to property, in 419 cases of arson, and in a total of 14,511 cases, we had 16,006 arrests, whereby 11,478 were in custody in that period. 2,118 were given 496, with 81 given 583, of which were minors, 854 398, and 1,425 were given bail of 399, with 50 given J175. The next category, which is the other serious offenses, which is your shoplifting, your theft, and your fraud. 30,119 cases, and out of 30,119 cases, we had 32,635 arrests, 23,821 were in custody in that period, with 2,296 given 496. 39 of them were given 583 as minors. 3,517 were given 398 bail, with 2,833 given J399 bail, with 129 given J175. Minister, on the category of crime dependent on police action, which relates to your drug-related offenses, your illegal possession of firearms, and driving under the influence of liquor, 47,083 cases, we had 48,903 arrests, 27,929 were in custody in that period, with 3,695 were given a 496, with 62 minors, 6,039 given 398, with 5,528 given J399, with 5,378 were given J534, with 272 given J175. Thank you, National Commissioner.
Thanks, General Mohale. I will now call upon Major General Skukuni to give a crime picture.
Thank you, Minister, DM, National Commissioner, DNCs, all colleagues in the platform, members of the media and the analysts. As has already been indicated, I will just give you a brief presentation that covers the crime statistics, that is the crime that had been committed and reported to the police, covering the period 8th of May up to until the 5th of May, which was, I guess, yesterday. So I will just give the table that gives the summary overall. So this is how the crime picture looks like for the period. We are comparing the 8th of May 2023 to the 5th of May 2024, and then we compare it to the period from the 8th of May to the 7th of May 2023.
murders, we had a reduction of 339 counts. That is a 1.2% reduction in terms of the murders. Sexual offenses, we had a reduction of 716 counts. That is a 1.3% change. We then had increases for attempted murders, 3,298. That is a 3.2% increase. Then assault, GBH, we had an increase of 8,200. That is a 4.9% increase. Then for common assault, we had an increase of 3,094. That is a 1.7% increase. For common robbery, the increase was 1,569 counts, or a 3.4% increase. Common robberies, we had robbery with aggravating circumstances. We had an increase of 4,392, a 3.1% increase. Then the total of the contact crimes, or the crimes against a person, we had an increase of 19,498. That is a 3.0% increase. Then for the breakdown of the sexual offenses, led there by the rapes, it goes into the details of these particular crimes, which are grouped together as sexual offenses. They are made up of the 4 crimes that we are now going to talk to. They are led by a reduction in terms of the rapes of 618. That is a 1.5% decrease. Then sexual assault decreased by 104, a 1.4% decrease. Then attempted sexual offenses increased by 177, or a 7.4% increase. Then contact sexual offenses decreased by 171, that is a 19.1% reduction. Then the next category breaks down the robbery with aggravating circumstances and goes into the individual crimes that make up that broad category of robbery with aggravating circumstances. Then the first 3 that we are going to start with attempt what is called the trio crimes. These are made up of carjacking, robbery at non-residential premises, and robbery at residential premises. We recorded an increase in terms of the carjacking, 264 counts more, a 1.2% change. Then robbery at non-residential premises decreased by 1,088 counts, that is a 5.8% reduction. Robbery at residential premises increased by 579, or a 2.6% increase. Then the sum total of those 3 crimes, which are called the trio crimes, overall reduced by 245, that is a 0.4% reduction. Then the other crime that make up that category of robbery with aggravating circumstances, we had a reduction of 1 count in terms of bank robberies, a reduction of 25 counts in terms of the robberies of cash in transit. Truck hijacking, we reduced by 46, that is a 2.4% reduction. Then on the next slide, we have the crimes that are called contact-related crimes, made up of arson and malicious damage to property. And the 2 crimes that make up that broad category of contact-related crimes recorded decreases of 258 and 3,801 respectively, resulting in an overall reduction of that broad category by 4,059 counts, or 3.5% reduction. Then for property-related crimes, we had a clean sweep in terms of the reduction for those 5 crimes that make up the property-related crimes, starting with burglary at non-residential premises, a reduction of 4,313, burglary at residential premises reduced by 8,341, and then for theft of motor vehicle and motorcycle, we had a reduction of 617. Then for theft out of or from motor vehicle, we had a reduction of 44. Stock theft, we reduced by 314. Then the total of the broad category of property-related crimes decreased by 13,629, a percentage reduction of 3.7. Then the other serious crimes, made up of all theft not mentioned elsewhere, decreased by 9,416. We then had increases for commercial crime and shoplifting of 16,407 and 2,470 respectively, and that broad category increased by 9,400 increase. Then the total of the 17 community reported crimes increased by 11,271. Then the last category, which is termed crime detected as a result of police action, where the desired trend or the desired direction of change is an increase, we managed to achieve that across all the 4 crimes that make up the crime detected as a result of police action. For illegal possession of firearm and ammunition, we recorded 331 more arrests. Drug-related crimes, we had an increase of 10,540. Then for driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs, we increased by 16,567. That is a 41.2% increase. Sexual offenses detected as a result of police action increased by 1,014. That is a 10.5% increase. And the total of the crime detected as a result of police action increased by 28,452. That is a 12.6% increase. And that is the summary of the crime that had been reported to the police for the period covering the Operation Shanela statistics. I thank you.
Thank you very much. That marks the total presentation. One must say we had a lot of takedowns during the year. You would recall we had the takedown in Makado for CIT. We had various takedowns in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, CIT related, including murders within the eThekwini municipality. We had a number of takedowns in the Eastern Cape, including CITs also. We had a number of takedowns in the province of Gauteng for CIT, even including with Mpumalanga province. We had takedowns in the province of Western Cape. You'd recall the case of the Modaks, as well as for gang-related cases. So there is quite a number of takedowns that went across the country, and actually all the provinces did have a number of notable takedowns. But if there is any questions, the province will be able to expatiate on that. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for the presentation. Provincial commissioners are here. Takedowns happen on their provinces. I think Western Cape has gone to the top drawer when it comes to takedowns. They've touched the names that nobody thought they would. So, but the provincial commissioner is here. KZN is here. The next story is almost every day. So they're here to explain Gauteng and Mpumalanga, everybody's here. We do this with an understanding that we have not arrived. We have not arrived. There is still a lot of ground to cover. But things that we do alone and privately every Monday, wanted to share it out there, what we do. We are also working on strengthening the organization. As you know, that we are training more officers, young officers that we are training, as we call them 10,000 project. We did that a year before, last year and this year we're doing the same, but we're increasing all other units like POP and others. But also we have invited back the experienced detectives who have left the organization honorable. Is one area where we've been really put down when it comes to the detectives. Quite several of them are coming back. We're also inviting back our special forces that might have left the organization. So it's one area that we're doing, strengthening the organization. But we also acknowledge as the police that it cannot be that is only the police that deal with the violence to the latter. We are also guided by the document that we produced and was really adopted and passed by the Cabinet of the Republic of South Africa, of the document that is integrated. It's called Integrated Violence and Prevention of the Violent Crime, where it's got 6 pillars that other departments, other level of government must do to deal with crime, fully understanding that it cannot just be the law enforcement only. One of those pillars is an early intervention. What do we do with our young kids? What do we do with those that they fall by the wayside as they cross school? Those that they fall the victims of things like drugs. Are we going to be arresting? When I was in Hanover Park a few weeks ago, somebody complained to say there is a 9-year-old that doesn't go to school. Why don't you arrest him? I said, but tell me, really? A 9-year-old that doesn't go to school, whose father and mother, you expect police to really arrest that 9-year-old? So there are calls of arresting 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds and all that. So we believe that the government should spread the responsibility in fighting with crime. So those were the matters. We're strengthening our relationship with the communities. We believe that if communities come on board, maybe that's why last year, for the first time ever, this department budgeted about 70 million for the community safety fora to be able to get on the equipment like cars and other things, so that we work together. As it's explained, we work with the private security companies and all that. So we are inspired to say we are strengthening, we're working together, we're trying to be proactive, prevent, and yes, react, find those that have committed crime, but also prevent as we go forward. It does look like police, as the National Commissioner said, we have cracked on the high-profile cases. There are cases that have been making a lot of noise. Your AKA case, the matter of the run board manager, those things have happened. Some serious, otherwise, other cases where they've been cracked. So it's just to share that every Monday, this is what we do, South Africa, starting from the 8th of May up to date, and definitely continuing trying to prevent, combat, investigate, uphold the law, and enforce it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Minister of Police. Thank you very much to the generals that have given us very thorough breakdowns of what is happening behind Operation Shanela and what does it really mean when it comes to this high-density operation that is unfolding in all 9 provinces. Speaking of all 9 provinces, Minister, if you'll allow me, could we maybe just hear from the provincial commissioners, not too lately, around how this particular operation has, changed, if any, the province's crime picture. We'll start with KwaZulu-Natal, and we'll go to the Free State and go to the Western Cape as things go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo, and greetings to the Minister, the DM, the National Commissioner, my colleagues that are present here, and the public at large. As presented by my colleagues, for KZN, we have seen such a very good successes coming out of the operations that we've been doing in KZN, which is Operation Shanela. And I must accredit these successes to the hardworking men and women in blue and the good cooperation that we are having as a South African Police Service with our counterparts, mainly the Metro Police, the Road Traffic Inspectorate, law enforcement officers that are working in different municipalities, as well as the private sector. Private sector in the main will include the private security industry. We have a very good working relationship with them that has helped us a lot in achieving a lot of successes on this, in terms of them deploying their resources to assist us as the police, as well as their human resources, physical, being involved in operations. And also we can accredit the successes to the partnership that we are having with the community. Community in blue that are patrolling the streets in the early hours of the morning and late at night to try and prevent crime from happening. Those people that are going to work and schools, children that are coming from schools that have been attacked. So we've seen quite a lot of successes. And I'm sure it's well known. I don't have necessarily the figures here to show on the screen, but the number of incidents that has happened in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, multiple murders especially. There's quite a lot of multiple shootings that have been happening where more than one suspect is, one victim is killed in one incident. We've had quite a number of successes in terms of arrest. The newsworthy on some that perhaps I believe South Africans may know about, where 10 people were killed in one instance in places like where 8 people were killed in one incident at Umlazi, 6 people were killed in one incident at Mbumbulu, and Guamaputa, 3 people killed, and many other newsworthy murders that happened in the tavern. The minister spoke about the famous murder of a famous musician and his friend, and so forth. There are many of them. I cannot begin counting here, but it's quite a good thing that has helped us in the province. And I must also indicate that as we were busy with operations in KZN, as we analyze the challenges that we have, we realize that we need to focus our operations while we're doing the Shanela operations, but we must focus on areas that are contributing to crime. And some of those in the main are liquor establishments. Hence, I'm sure perhaps the citizen might be aware that we've got a lot of breweries that are within our venues in our provinces, and some of the liquor that is not being used in those breweries that get disposed, it's kept within the premises of those breweries, and people find a way of getting in, and they steal some of the liquor that's supposed to be disposed of, and they are able to sell it to these illegal liquor outlets, and that contributes into the drugs, into the killings that are happening in the province. Not only murders, as well as rape that has been happening. So our focus has always been on trying to close down all the illegal liquor outlets, and also to enforce the law on those that are licensed but not complying with the law. Also, the focus that we've had is on vehicle crime in our province, and we know that vehicle crime majority hijackings, which affects a lot of people, and we did that by establishing teams. There's a team that has been established in the main around eThekwini district, and we also have a stabilization team that was established with the support of the national office at Manguzi district, which is neighboring Mozambique. And there's been a lot of successes because those teams has mainly focused on vehicle crime in the main. But obviously they are solving other parallel cases. And we've seen a lot of reduction in terms of the crime on vehicle crime in our province as a result of this. Our murders, as I've spoken about, there's a lot of incident that has happened. Successes on that, as a South African Police Service, we established teams as well to focus on these known or as much talked about hitmen that are available in our province. The minister always talk about the number of hitmen that are coming from KZN, and they are not only affecting the rest of the country, but in KZN they are quite active as well. So we've been deploying a strategy on man marking, following each one of the hitmen until we pounce on them. It's been fortunate for us that we have lost few officers in this battle. It was not only the criminals that died, also police officers died in the process, as we are busy with this war on crime in our province. But fortunately, quite a number of criminals were neutralized that were posing threat to our members. We have two big harbours in our province, which are the gateway for all economic activities in the country. That is Richards Bay Harbour as well as Durban Harbour. And as we are busy with the country is expecting that business also move in between those harbours, we also experience a lot of challenges with regard to illicit goods that are coming in. And that ranges from products that are being shipped into the country that the brand owners did not sign off and they do not approve of them. We find a lot of those coming in. But more importantly for us, which is a pain, is drugs. There are a lot of drugs that are coming through those two ports, which then creates a lot of problems in our province with regard to the number of drugs, especially crack cocaine, which is cheap and is easily available on the street because it's affordable from the normal man on the street. And that has really changed the youth, and it makes them more aggressive, and they commit a lot of dangerous crimes. So we have been focusing on trying to eliminate or reduce the number of drugs that are coming to the province through those ports in the main. So there's been a lot of successes on that, and I'm sure you all know about it. Drugs that have been found, some of them hidden in warehouses, some of them hidden amongst some goods that are shipped in, paint, those cans of paint where drugs, some of the drugs are put into those paints, and some of the drugs have been mixed with the chicken that's been shipped into the country. So those are in short, but there's a lot of things that we can talk about as KZN. I'm sure we can take the whole day. I see Lorenzo wants to chase me off the stage now. Thanks so much, Mr.
I would never do that to you, General. Thank you so much. That is the Provincial Commissioner of KZN, Lieutenant General. Now we do have the Free State, who will be taking us through what's happening in her province, and this is, of course, Lieutenant General Mutsunyana.
Thanks, Lorenzo. To General Bedikele, to our Deputy Minister, Hazel Matale, allow me to say all protocol observed. What I want to say is that as the province, we have seen the results or income reduction as a result of us launching Operation Shanela. Operation Shanela is where we are saying to our members that it's business as usual, where we are saying to our committees that we need to join hands and fight this monster together. And it's exactly what happened to the Free State. I want to commend the Committee of Free State for being there with the police at all the times. We had crime committed. I just want to indicate on our CIT's committed, where committee members, they assisted us in making sure that suspects were arrested. Generally, we had CIT in Mangaung, of which the same day, 6 suspects were intercepted in Botterville, 4 AK-47s confiscated, 40 explosives, as well as more than 200 high-caliber ammunition. Community of Lejolipuja will remember that we had spate of kidnappings in Free State. Even though the kidnappings are still showing an increase in the Free State, but most of the kidnappings are as a result of crime which were committed when the victims were taken from one point to the other during commission of crime. But I want to say that commission for kidnapping for ransom is going to reduce general. We arrested 2 groups, of which the first group, 13 suspects were arrested, linked to 16 cases. They are the ones who were targeting pensioners and people who benefited from RAF. The second group, 8 suspects were arrested. What they were doing, they were stopping motorists, plotting them with drugs or gold-bearing material, demand ransom for them not to be arrested. 8 of them were arrested, and as a result, they were linked to 8 cases of kidnapping. And I'm confident with that, with this arrest, kidnapping cases are going to reduce in the Free State. In closing, I want to say that, Minister, together we can do more with our communities.
Thank you very much, General. We then call upon the Northwest, and that's Lieutenant General Gwena.
Thank you, Minister, Deputy Minister, all the DNC's National Commissioner, all protocol observed. A short synopsis from Northwest is that we also believe that crime prevention cannot be successful without the involvement of the community. So this community involvement, that is patrollers and the role of the provincial government, also assist a lot. The imbizos that are being held, we've got impromptu imbizos where we've got people that we gather at the street that we talk to ensure that we try to address the scourge of crime within the Northwest Province. The problematic crime, amongst others in Northwest, is stock theft. More especially around the Taung, Ventersdorp and Wolmaranstad areas. When you look at the previous crime statistics, you will see that there's a gradual decline of these crimes is because of these heightened operations of Operation Shanela, which are happening. I cannot specify the specific times because then you know it's going to shift everything. But we are heightening operations, looking at the modus operandi when the crime is being committed, and ensuring that we operate accordingly along those areas and times. We've got an increase of gangs. Now it's not happening. We've got renowned gangs within the Northwest, more especially within the Matrosana areas. That is the Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda. Those actually are the construction mafias. But with the inception of this Operation Shanela, we've seen a steep decline of these construction mafias, the gangs, to an extent that even at some stage they fight amongst themselves. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but at least it reduces the police work. The successes within the multidisciplinary approach regarding kidnappings. Kidnappings, it's a crime that is rearing its head all over the provinces, all the other provinces. And the purpose there in the main is for ransom. But the multidisciplinary forces that are working together, crime intelligence, detectives, and the other teams are ensuring that at least most of the victims, we get them back and they are safe. But there are instances where families do not report these cases to the police and go out and pay ransom. Only yesterday, if you check the news of yesterday in Northwest, in collaboration with Gauteng around Fochville, there were people who were arrested who had people that they kidnapped and wanted a ransom of about 500,000 rand. I think it appeared yesterday. These are prevalent in the Northwest Province around Hartbeespoort Dam, Brits, as well as the Matrosani area. I must indicate the foreign nationals, specifically Basotho, are also involved in kidnappings in that area of the Matrosani area. Illegal mining around Katlaganyane, Rustenburg, near Sun City, around the areas of Stelfontein and Orkney are also a problem. But with the teams that we are having, as a result of Shanela operations, I must indicate that we've seen a reduction. More than 1,500 suspects that have been arrested at the beginning. I just want to be brief. I don't want even to say the equipments that we seized, the food parcels that we seized, and the number of godis that were closed as a result of this Operation Shanela. I also must indicate that Rustenburg is the provincial business hub of our area, Rustenburg itself. It is the Joburg of Northwest, where robberies, car theft are happening on a daily basis. But because of what the President and the Minister brought for with regard to this project, 10,000, we've got increased members that are on a daily basis patrolling those areas to try and reduce this crime, to ensure visibility, to ensure a feeling of omnipresence for the community of the Rustenburg area. Lastly, Minister, I must indicate that another crime that is rearing its head, it's this Facebook robberies. Now, Wolmaranstad, it's like a semi-rural town, but people will come from KZN, Durban, people will come from Gauteng to come and buy a conquest, I mean not a conquest, a quantum that is advertised on Facebook in Northwest. Now, I'm not sure how it is happening, but that is actually what is happening. They go, they flock Wolmaranstad, Bloemhof, Matrosane area, and they indicate in the Facebook after they interacted with the suspect that you must bring cash. People go there with cash. What happens? They show you the actual car, then they rob you. But because with this Operation Shanela, we've brought a team together. Till this, only last week, we had 18 suspects that we arrested for a lot of cases around this. We are going to request ID parades from people from KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, to come and ID these people. In a brief that is short from Northwest. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, General Gwena. I'll call upon the Provincial Commissioner of the Western Cape, General Patekile.
Thank you, Program Director, the Minister of Police, but it's worth mentioning it, that the impact of Operation Shanela in our respective province, especially in the Western Cape, has had a big impact. But what we looked at was to look at the organized crime approach, where we had to target the high flyers that are currently, since last 2 weeks, they are in court, the likes of Modak and his group, the Stanfield, and the family. We included now the mother-in-law and the brother over the weekend. They're appearing today for, in addition to what we found, 4.5 million cash stuck in a house in somewhere, and high-end, 19 high-end watches, which would alone would be costing about 6 million rand, and plus the defeating of ends of justice. So we've looked at the crime generators and who generate crime in our province. Firstly, the weapon of choice is firearms. The proliferation of firearms, we focus on that. The drugs, as well as we know that gangs, they thrive on drugs and firearms. And of course, also in the taxi industry, we had to focus on that because it was also generating many of our murders, where we've taken some of the big guys or Bonga Makalala who are in the business of this, the big taxi bosses. Then in extortion industry as well, general extortion, where you found people like Opara, Oyanga, Nyarara, with the many groups and many people that have been killed by them. They are inside. Or Jerome boys in Mark Liftman. They are currently with their groups. They are currently in court as we speak. They are all in high courts now as we speak, defending themselves. So in a nutshell, the partnerships with all other stakeholders in the Western Cape, the municipalities, the Western Cape government and violence prevention and other law enforcement in the area, assist us to ensure that we achieve the goal. Yes, we are not out of the shade yet, but had it not been for these operations, perhaps we would have been seeing something different. As we took these high flyers, then we left a void. Hence you see more gang violence erupting, because the leadership, we've taken the leadership now, and the TAPS now, there's a fight on the TAPS and leadership position within these gang groupings. We are continuing with what we mandated ourselves in Operation Shanela, and we are seeing the results. We may not have achieved everything in terms of crime, but many have come down. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. While I wait for General Manager to join us from the Eastern Cape, it's just really great to hear in-depth sort of analysis from the provincial commissioners. So it's really appreciated. We now call upon the Provincial Commissioner for the Eastern Cape, that's Lieutenant General Mene.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Greetings to the Honorable Minister, the DM, the National Commissioner, DNC is present, all officers that are present, the media houses that are present, good morning. From the province of the Eastern Cape, Minister, since the inception of Operation Shanela, we have noticed a constant decrease in our crime, especially in our murder cases, robberies and our rapes. We are experiencing the kidnappings as well in the area, on all areas of the province, most areas of the province. Minister, since the beginning of Operation Shanela, we have recovered 800 handguns. We have recovered 50 homemade firearms, 86 firearms that are rifles, and 63 semi-automatic firearms, bringing a total of 1,014 firearms that we have recovered since the inception of Shanela. We're still struggling with the cases of robbery aggravated, especially in the areas of Nelson Mandela Bay. The Nelson Mandela Bay district still is stubborn when it comes to robbery cases, especially the residential robberies. But we are making successes, Minister, and achieving successes. Even yesterday, there was a case of robbery in New Brighton that was in progress, where the members responded from the crime prevention in New Brighton, and they arrested the suspect, and the one suspect was fatally wounded during the shootout between the police and the members of the New Brighton Crime Prevention Unit. So we are seeing on these cases. Minister, we do have integrated operations in the province. We had area like Port St. John's where there were issues of taxi violence, but with the intervention from National Aid Office, we have a team that is investigating those cases in Lusikisiki and Port St. John's. In the Majola area, Minister, we had a situation where women could not sleep at home, and during Shanela, there were deployments. There are still deployments in those areas, and we also have a group that is stabilizing the area. We see peace now in those areas, Minister. The gangs in the northern areas, Minister, of Port Elizabeth, your Bethelsdorp, your Galvindale, still a problem, but we do have our anti-gang unit focusing in those areas. Over and above the deployments within the district, Minister, we've added and augmented our foot soldiers by adding the combat teams, your TRT, your public order police, and your NIU in the different areas of the province. And we have achieved some successes, and we have recovered some firearms in the areas. Minister, still of concern to us is the issue of Nelson Mandela Bay. I have to just mention the issue of Fort Hare, University of Fort Hare. The fact that we managed during the period, with the intervention of course from National, we managed to arrest suspects that were charged for murder as well as attempted murder. One of those being the case of the driver of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Fort Hare, who was killed, and then 10 suspects were arrested in those cases. 15 more were arrested, Minister, for cases related to fraud and corruption at the University of Fort Hare, of course assisted by the intervention team from National. Minister, we still have a problem also of stock theft in the province. I think we are unique in terms of the contribution. Most of the stations in the top 10 of nationally when it comes to stock theft are in the province of the Eastern Cape. But we have also some arrests. During the Operation Shanela period, we have 551 arrests in terms of stock theft. Minister, are also known for the contribution towards rapes, especially Lusikisiki. Coming up now, Minister, Ms. Lusikisiki is getting better, but coming up on the list is Mthatha itself. But during the Operation Shanela period, we have arrested 4,212 suspects for rape cases in the province. Minister, that is all from my side. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, General Mene. I now call upon the Provincial Commissioner. That is General Khatebe, Lieutenant General Khatebe, who will be joining us and taking us through what's happening in the province.
Greetings to the Honorable Minister, the Deputy Minister of Police, the National Commissioner, all DNCs, and the members of the media as well as the whole House. I must say, as a province of Limpopo, we're contributing positively to the picture at national level. Our approach to win our fight against crime is that we involve our community in many of our different areas. We also work very well together with our traditional leaders in the different villages. Our security, they form part of our operations, and they bring resources which assist us in the main in dealing with some of the robberies that take place in the business areas. We also forever indebted to the multidisciplinary approach operations that we embark on with different state departments. You know, as a province of Limpopo, one of our problems is the sexual cases. We are a province that really at national level, we are reflecting when it comes to sexual offenses and in particular the rape cases. Our approach working with the municipality in terms of looking at the hotspot areas, the bushy areas, particularly the area of Tuandu, we have been making good progress of lately in the reduction of these typical cases. Our challenge now lies with Waterbeck, which is a mushrooming challenge, and in particular children are at stake. And whoever is listening to me from the province of Limpopo, I would like to put an advice that we should take care of our children, because in the main, the cases that we are receiving is children who are underage. Stock theft is one of our problems also in Limpopo, but I must say we have find our different stock theft unit making some progress. If you look at our crime picture, the stock theft has reduced. We have arrested some of the kingpins that are involved in the stock theft. In the area of Roblesdal, we have confiscated a lot of stock and impounded them that has been stolen in different farmers who came and identified them. And we are making good progress in that. I must say we are a hub of mining in the province, and illegal mining is one of our issues that we are focusing on, particularly in the areas of Drikop and Atok. We have made arrests, I must say, just for the past 3 months, just to mention a few, we had 1,554 arrests that we have made, confiscated millions and millions of equipment, which includes your TLBs, your trucks, and many, many more equipments that I will not go in depth to it. We are working with the asset forfeiture to deal with all those equipment. Our flagship operation that we had, the CIT operation of Makado, is one that put us on the map. As we took that decision, we had a number of CITs that took place, but let me say to this house, this operation that we have done, it had made us to reduce our CIT. Absolutely, I can say we did not have any CITs for the past few months, and many other CITs that we prevented by other means that we did. That project ran together with the project of Woodspruit. We are forever indebted to the work and the integrated approach and the collaboration that we get from our rural communities as well, where we managed to even arrest a suspect who has been a wanted suspect who was on the run for cases and even killing police officer in the province of Free State. I must say that operation made us to recover almost 11 firearms that were recovered, and almost 10 vehicles that were recovered, because some of the vehicles were recovered in another location, including an ambulance, which is meant to be a transport for the money after they have done the CIT. Let me then send an advice also to my people who are listening in this. Our problems of lately, which we see in our robbery increases, Minister, is the robbery that comes out of the hitchhiking. Our people are hitchhiking, and in the process, they don't reach their destination. They are being robbed from the way, and some of them, they are also being raped at the same time. When it comes to Shanela, Minister, I must say we confiscated 153 firearms, 8,899 ammunitions. We arrested, we are a province, I think because we are closer to your Zimbabwe, people just walk in at some point. We arrested 7,430 foreign nationals, people who were undocumented, and in the main were from some of our cases emanate from the shipments. We are continuing with the Shanela operation, and we are saying we will make sure that crime does not happen. Let me also highlight on one of the successes that we had in Gravelot, where we arrested a foreign national for possession of rhino horns over 10 million, and also some of the firearms that were recovered. He was an American citizen, and the court is still, the case is still pending in court. We also made arrests. We are also dealing with the issues of the drugs, where we arrested the Tanzanian foreign nationals who were in possession of 3 million drugs within the area of Tabazimbi. And of late, we arrested another Tanzanian who had a load of dacha that was full. So people are actually transporting drugs coming outside, coming to the province, including a Swazi national who was also in possession of drugs, the dacha, in the area of Orakstad. So we are closing our gates between Gauteng as well as Mpumalanga. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General. What's very interesting to note is the thread with all the presentations by the provincial commissioners around community participation, really stemming the fact that, you know, police need communities and communities need police in order for us to stamp the authority of the state and also justify crime. With that, I'd like to invite the provincial commissioner of the Northern Cape, that is Lieutenant General Otola. And after General Otola, we'll hear from Gauteng as well as Mpumalanga, and then we'll open it up to some questions with the editors as well as journalists that are with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Greetings to the Minister, the Deputy Minister, the National Commissioner, colleagues. Minister, with the inception of Operation Shanela, the province has seen a decrease in many crime categories. However, some categories of crime are proving to be stubborn. But we are working with the community and other stakeholders, including our CPF, to focus on liquor outlets, unlicensed dealers, drugs, conducting compliance inspection at second-hand dealers and other registered dealers. We have a few successes that I need to mention. We had Operation Kick Dust before the inception of Operation Valambodi, where we arrested 867 illegal miners. We demolished hostels, and we recovered a lot of mining equipment with a value of 4 million rands. And then with the addition of Operation Valambodi, we have arrested an additional 788 suspects for illegal mining with a lot of mining equipment, drugs, diamonds, and cash. We also arrested 3 males and recovered 7 firearms with police uniform that were supposed to be used for a planned heist in Khalishiwe. We also confiscated cigarettes with a value of 9 million in Springbok on the N7, where we recovered a truck and 2 suspects. In Kakamas, we also arrested 2 males in a truck, and we confiscated cigarettes with a value of 4 million. Another arrest of 3 males took place in Nivot Vale, where we arrested poachers for endangered plants with a value of 450,000 rands. With the Operation Mgodi, house was searched, and uniforms, SNTF uniforms and firearms were recovered. 8 suspects were arrested with security radios. The uniforms and the firearms were going to be used for a heist again. And then in the past week, 168 pieces of unpolished diamonds were confiscated, and 6 suspects were arrested in Namakwa, both foreign nationals and South Africans. And then lastly, Minister, we have an issue in the province of non-ferrous metals. We have arrested 5 suspects with 35 cases of tampering with essential infrastructure. They were all Zimbabweans. It's an old case that we're busy with. They were recovered with cell phone batteries of 3 million. Thank you, Minister.
General Otola, thank you very much. We now call upon Gauteng, that's Lieutenant General Mtombeni, who's going to take us through what's happening in his province. Then we'll hear from Mpumalanga.
Good morning to the Minister, Deputy Minister, National Commissioner, the Deputy National Commissioners, Lieutenant General, on here, the media houses. Okay, right. Just for Gauteng, relating to Operation Shanela, as we are moving forward in ensuring that we make sure that we deal precisely with the criminality. One must indicate that with the approach of the whole government approach, of which is approved by government or parliament in 2022 March, we are of course moving forward with the 6 pillars, of which the first pillar is the integrated governmental programs, of which we link it with the prof joints, our prof joints where we have to create the stability within the province. I must indicate with that we are in a position with the 3 metros within the province, which is over 14,000 personnel, which supplement thereof. We are in a position to can deal with the problems as it is known by the public within the N3 highways, you know, the blue light robberies. We managed to thwart those criminals within that space, of which one, there was a fatality, and after the investigation we had 4 arrests. In that line, we were also in a position to follow integratedly so an information in Don Park where we got pieces of uniform from Mpumalanga Traffic Police, Gauteng Traffic Police, Madiveni, whereupon we were in a position to can deal with that. Safe to say, with this deployment of the integrated force, we also taking part in terms of the other areas like your M2, where we had recently some problems, and of course, your spikes along the N4, towards Witbank and then towards Rustenburg, of which in that space we collaborate with Mpumalanga, we collaborate with Northwest. I've just spoken to the Provincial Commissioner now. Safe to say on N1, we were in a position to arrest 3 individuals in terms of the spiking, of which they were linked to 14 cases. Along R8 as well, we covered that by arresting 5 individuals. On N4, there is an individual who was arrested based on that in terms of the spiking, who was detained in a Bosch Corp. So with these collaborations, we also take into consideration the other pillars like your early child development, as the Minister have indicated, the issue of policing through environmental design, the issue of the criminal justice system. Community involvement important as we move forward. From time to time we drumming up with this issue of the community involvement, but we are also linked to the E2 project, of which we are having a memorandum of understanding approved by the National Commissioner, where we have the Business Against Crime South Africa, and then we interlink with that, and we are in a position to can collaborate, you know, your security industry. Within this province, we're having over 206,000, the security industry, which helps, and from time to time, in most of the operations, we are heading up in terms of crackdown. We also having the community in blue, of which we're having over 7,200. In conclusion, we are, of course, in terms of the CIT, which is a concern within the province since the inception of Operation Shanela. In Sebokeng, somewhere there, last year we managed to have an engagement with these criminals where there were 11 fatalities, 15 arrests, 6 AK-47 were recovered, and after 2 days we had an engagement on John Foster Avenue next to Littleton policing area where there were 2 fatalities. We got some rifles there, a vehicle which was hijacked in Lodium, linked positively so. And again, we also had, subsequent to that arrest along Eastgate in Ekurhuleni, 8 suspects were arrested. In February this year, we had an engagement in Dobsonville with the CIT robbers, 2 fatalities, and we recovered 3 AK-47. Safe to say that the illegal mining, it is a problem, and of which this Saturday we managed to arrest, or we managed to engage one of the most wanted person who was causing problems in terms of the turf war within the illegal mining space, and the National Intervention Unit engaged him somewhere there in Jaulani, Muletsani, and he was fatally wounded, of which is linked to also with Nomzamo cases, and also some cases in Florida where 6 people were shot at, and we had a total of 898 for this Operation Valmgood. Thank you.
Greeting to the Minister, the Deputy Minister, the National Commissioner, the DNCs, the Provincial Commissioners, as well as everyone in the House, the media. Greetings to you once more. Minister, I just want to share with the House that the Operation Shanela in Mpumalanga, it is through the multidisciplinary approach that involves different stakeholders, your POLSEC, your SARS, your traffic law enforcement, your environmental health, and then in these particular instances with this multidisciplinary approach, we are focusing on liquor compliance, driving under the influence of liquor, position of illegal firearms, stolen vehicles, as well as making sure that we are also patrolling and dealing with issues of spaza shops that are also with the need of environmental designs that they are coming handy in dealing with that specific area, and Minister. And then I want also to share with the Minister that during Operation Valumgoti in Mpumalanga, we arrested around 718, and from December until April 2024. I want also to give indication that through Operation Shanela, we are making an inroads. And then the recent, on the 2nd of May, at Nelspruit Town, we managed to arrest one suspect who was in possession of 11 kilogram cocaine, and then for the value of 4,583,370. Minister, I want also to share with the House that we also had an operation in terms of illicit mining under case 174 of 4/2024 at Venkelhag mine shaft, that is in Secunda. In that area, and Minister, we also arrested 38, of which out of 38, those 38 that were arrested, they were also removed from the shaft through the assistance of disaster management as well as other stakeholders and ministers. I just want to share with that the crime, in terms of our crime, we work together, we do Operation Shanela every week, and we are making sure that we are looking for firearm, and we are making sure that there is compliance in terms of liquor outlets. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Major General Sekhubela, who is representing Lieutenant General Manamela, who was not able to join us today. We are coming towards the close of our meeting, but we really find it very important that we do hear from the floor if there are any questions that we could entertain. But we also just have to illustrate the fact that at 11 o'clock we have to be out of here because the next press conference is coming through. But we'll take maybe one or two questions. With a show of hands, please, can you just indicate who you want to respond to the question? I'll take Sbungalwa, who is a SANEF chairperson. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon or this morning. And we'll also take Ubabuzani Lembeje, who is representing the SABC. Go ahead, Sbu.
Right. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. I'm hoping that I'm audible. This can be responded.
Just hold on for 2 seconds. There's a microphone. Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lorenzo. This is a question that perhaps can be responded to by the Minister or the National Commissioner. I just want to check, I mean, these figures, they look good, they're impressive, but I just want to ask in two parts, particularly around, starting with the recovery of firearms. Can you account for every one of those firearms that you have recovered? Can you confidently say that you have them in your possession? I ask this question because we do know that in South Africa we have a problem with illegal firearms, and particularly leaks within the system, police system. And I think that question can also extend to other parts of the other stats that we received. And also, lastly, the figures around recruitment. Yes, the minister has mentioned the 10,000 new recruits and other areas where you're beefing up capacity, but we do know that particularly in a province like KZN that we have your highly specialized police officers that are training for millions of rands who are now part of the private security sector. Can you just share with us in specifics and to be specific rather around what retention strategies you have to ensure that members like those ones are not lost easily to the private security sector? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Spook. Let's take the one from SABC, please.
Hi, good morning. Just a few questions. Number one, I know that municipalities may perhaps need to answer on this one. So, how worried are you that so many people, may I say some of them who may really not be documented, really walk on the freeways and at the risk obviously of their own and the motorists, but more concerning, and I think the commissioner here in Gauteng will remember a few weeks ago when there was, I think, an accident and then the cars were stuck, and then some of those people just pounced on the motorists. So why are law enforcement authorities allowing jaywalking on the freeways like at will? It's just not an issue. So, and some people then get to have an opportunity if an occasion like that happens. And the second one, the quick one, how much of the darkness, I mean, there are so many robots that are not working. In fact, some of them are now permanent. And major intersections where many of the hijackings happen, but no one seems to be doing anything about that. How much does that contribute really to this kind of crime that we see? It's so dark in so many places. And then the last one, maybe around Izingadi, particularly in KZN. Maybe General Mkhwanazi, how do you deal with those that normally run to the far-flung rural areas? I'm sure it would be a bit easier to track those that are in the urban centers, but those who are in the far-flung rural areas, because most of them would commit crime here and rush somewhere. And you know what is distressing is that when we're in the communities, just about everyone knows who's Ingabi, who killed who, but somehow that person will still roam the streets then.
All right, thank you very much. Just to balance things out, we are also going to get questions from our analysts. We'll start with Yusuf Abramji from ENCA.
Yusuf Abramji from Crime Watch, ENCA, ENTV. Mr. Minister, I've got a few questions very quickly. I think we all agree that well done on the great number of arrests that you made. 600,000 is an impressive figure. Is there enough place to keep these suspects behind bars because we know the prisons are hopelessly overpopulated? Linked to that, are you able to share, and if not, why not, the number of convictions and the number of acquittals and the number of cases withdrawn? It's good to make the arrest, but we need to have details on the finalization. As much as we know the criminal justice system is overworked and there's long delays. Secondly, the easy granting of bail. From the figures given, many of the suspects are given bail only to come out and to commit more crime. And linked to that, from the figures given, the number of minors involved in crime must be a source of concern which the Minister referred to. And lastly, also, Mr. Minister, the issue of Operation Shanela, is it not becoming too predictive? We know every Thursday morning there's going to be a roadblock at a certain place, and the criminals will evade that particular system and try to beat the system. Shouldn't there be a review ongoing of how your operations are planned between Thursday and Monday? I'll be failing my duty not to ask you about kidnappings because 2 or 3 of the provincial commissioners referred to it. Just this morning again in Fortsburg, a businessman was kidnapped in broad daylight. We know a lot of foreign governments are issuing warnings to their citizens not to travel to South Africa, and as much as I think 300 arrests have been made for kidnappings, this kidnapping ransom scourge is becoming becoming a real worry. What's the plan of action to fight this scourge? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yusuf. And we'll take the last question. I believe it's Mr. New. Okay, there's more than... All right, Kulafelo, please can you take the mic and also just ask your question. Do you still have one, Gareth? Okay, you're good. All right.
Good morning.
Okay.
Professor Kulafelo Rakubu from TUT. We acknowledge the successes, but we also, as per research suggests, the disparity with the crime landscape. Yes, you are arresting thousands and thousands of perpetrators, but why is that we are not winning the battle against crime as South Africa? We're tired of seeing the numbers, so we want to zoom into the current strategies. What is it that you're going to do different? Yes, you are arresting, but crime keeps on flourishing in South Africa. What can take as a next step to ensure that we reduce crime? We need to reduce crime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. We'll take the last question. Stevens.
All right, thank you. Stevens from Davidson. We know that in most of the crimes, we do have members of SAPS in part of them. I've been in CITs, once in a while there's a SAPS member involved in robberies and stuff like that. I just wanted to know what is SAPS doing about members who really commit crime. We do understand there's IP after a crime was been committed, but is there anything internally that SAPS is working on to deal with their members? Because we know we have cop-on-cop crimes where partners kill each other and stuff like that. We write about that every day. So I just want to know the approach of SAPS in that effect. Thanks.
Thank you for that question. Minister, Generals, we've got a barrage of questions that they need responses. We'll start with the Minister, then we'll maybe get some responses from the National Commissioner as well.
Well, everybody must get rich for every other question. I'll answer only 3. I'll start with Sbu of recruitment. We are looking of highly specialized and trained members of the South African Police Service, especially the Special Task Force. We worked around with the management, led by the National Commissioner and ourselves, and we realized that they are really recruited by this private security company. To train one member of the Special Task Force, I'm told it takes 1.1 million for him to be completely, or her, to be completely trained. And we pleaded about 58 of them who went to the private sector. So that improved their conditions and their remuneration in a very significant way. And everybody that is in there, among those that are there, everybody has agreed that I'm going nowhere, we're staying. 2 things, is their conditions improved, but also they say they're here for the badge. They love the work they do. I think the bleeding has been stopped. Thereafter, those that have left have been spoken to. Their new bosses, they are allowed that to speak to. There is a process, as I speak to you, that they are getting reinstated in the organization with a much better, improved conditions and packages, and themselves again coming back for the page. I think at that level, the organization has done much better to deal with those issues. The group itself is quite happy that the management has taken on board their complaints. So I'm sure you'll hear the better stories now when it comes to that one. I think it has been really done. Cases, maybe the case management was not very much elaborative because there are quite many people that they are arrested, tried, in custody. You saw that they are in custody. Maybe those that have been found guilty. One worrying thing about South African justice system is that at the present moment, we are told that there are 44% overpopulation of the what am I praising to in language? Oh no. correctional services. I know prisons. So we're told that there are 44% correctional service and other elements that could be keeping those people, including ourselves. Our cells are full and all that, but we're not going to let them go because they have not been arrested. Maybe the management of stats, not necessarily stats, the management of the case management could be shared better, especially those that have been found guilty. The other worry is that there are increasing numbers of lifers in the South African prison. Quite many of them are really getting a lot of life. So you might find that you are not having a space because everybody's doing life. Everybody's doing 73 years, 93 years, 100 and all that. So that I think can be further. Prof, why are we not winning the crime? I guess one thing we are platooning. I think we are platooning. We are arresting the bleeding. I don't want to stand here and give the history. Those that have been following people like Gareth that we have worked with for a very long time, they know there were really good days when the crime was really down in South Africa. 2009, 2010, 2011, down in a way that those days is a big number. We're talking about 33 murders in South Africa rather than your 80 murders that you talk about. What happened? There was a lot of destruction of the organization. I'm not going to go back, but there was a lot of destruction. It was completely disabled. Many things that were put in place there were disabled. In the year 2010, we had 195,000 members of this organization, and there were 50 million South Africans. In the year 2024, we have 187,000 with 62 million South Africans. So the ratio and the visibility is doomed. I hear that some people believe that visibility of police is not a major issue in policing. I will differ for a very long time. Visibility of police is a other major thing that reduces crime. But also, we trained special forces like TRT, Amabaret, who really were there when they cleaned the streets, all the question of the problem of cash ice and all that, they were dismantled. We dealt with the question where the crime intelligence was headed by a suspended person for 8 years. 8 years, which means it was completely non-functional. You could not put new people there. There is a person now who's leading reconstruction on that thing. TRT were dismantled, their cars taken, people highly trained sent back to stations and all that, tracking highly trained, all dismantled and all that kind of thing. So there is a big question of reconstruction that is taking place as we could. Even things like your Hawks, you know, everybody was fired. The head drama was fired. A certain gentleman who is a comedian was brought to head the Hawks, and really the guy was a comedian. I think he's a comedian in politics now. Was brought to head the Hawks. So there were no Hawks, there were no crime intelligence, there were no special forces. This what Sbu has just asked. Those reduction come from those days when nobody was taking care of the special training. So even the numbers that were put in there, the retraining, POP itself was supposed to be 12,000, was reduced to 5,000. We've put them back to 9,000. So we believe that once this organization is properly reconstructed, things will be better. But let's repeat, it cannot be the law enforcement alone. It should be all the government working together, your early intervention, your environmental intervention design. Because if there are no lights, if Professor, I take you to deep slot at night, numbers, when you call the police because there is an accident or somebody has been shot, that police will find that place tomorrow morning. So if you don't deal with those, it's unlike getting the place at Sandhurst and Sentin. Is when you go to a deep slot, when you go to Kailisha, when you go to a place called COVID-19 or place called Sanitizer in Cape Town, you will never know which direction to take and all that. So this environmental design will have to, all of us, work together to reduce crime. So it cannot be, police must do their work, but across the government, we'll have to do better. And I answered 3.
You did, Minister. I just want to have a little summary of the questions that are still left while I call the National Commission to join us. Essentially, it was Wu's question around where are the firearms, so the darkness is impacting on crime, General, and also just is Nkabi fleeing from, say, Johannesburg to KZN, what are we doing about that? There's also that question from our good brother there from Dilisana about police involvement in crime, General, and kidnappings from Yusuf as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Lorenzo. Yeah, with regard to the matter around the safeguarding of firearms, yes, we know that is a concern. There were incidents where firearms were stolen in our custody, but since then we have reinforced, we have reviewed our strategies with a view to make sure that we keep the firearms intact all the time. And once they are at the police station, they get transferred to the forensic science lab, and there is a procedure that is guaranteed that it should happen that way. So yes, all these over 22,000 firearms are in our possession, and they will go through the process. On the question of I think it was from Beja about the suspects running far-flung areas, rural areas. We do go where they are. You would remember somewhere last year there was this Nkabi from Jabulani Hostel who committed crime, harassed communities around Jabulani, and he ran to the far-flung rural area of Vienen in KZN. We traced him, tracked him, until we found him there. Well, unfortunately, he came back lying on the back, but we did find him, and we continue finding them. This Friday, I'm sure you have seen on the news, there is one, obviously also coming from Inanda, to come and he shot the chairperson of the Tshwane Meter Taxi Association here in Bosman. Sure, he wasn't briefed properly that there is police next door. Unfortunately, he shot the chairperson, but police immediately, they were on him, and he was injured and arrested. Roadblocks are too predictive. I think it's Yusuf Abraham who asked the question. Yes, we do. Now and then we change where we're going to have our roadblocks. But however, there are certain areas where we might repeat these roadblocks. There is a certain road in West Rand. The police will tell you from West Rand that every time they hold a roadblock at that spot, doesn't matter, they will still find something wrong with the people that are traveling there. So that's why most of those roadblocks, you see them a little bit repetitive, because every time they do the roadblocks there, they will definitely come up with some successes. In terms of the issue of what are we doing about members that are being arrested, internally there are processes that we do. We do take departmental steps. You recall we also have the anti-corruption within the SAPS. So we do take departmental steps on those members, and they get dealt with. Despite the criminal case that will be dealt with by the IPID. I think that is mostly that. I'll ask General Msikiti to come and answer some questions, and also General Libya on the conviction. But it's worth mentioning that I think it was the Provincial Commissioner of Northwest that said earlier, there's a Facebook advert. Surely we caution our communities not to fall trap for those things, because there are people that goes on, they advertise very nice things, washing machines, vehicles, very, very cheap, and people travel very far. I mean, how do you travel from Zanin to go and buy a Toyota Conquest in Winterfeld, and you think it will find it cheap there? You won't. So people should stop that and not do that, because they are losing their money and also sometimes losing their life. So we want to call upon them to desist from doing that. And also the commercial crimes keep increasing as a result of either fraud at bank or through money market, which people lose their money also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Very good morning to yourself, Deputy Minister, colleagues, and the members of the media. Minister, for me, it will be the issues of why law enforcement is allowing jaywalking. I must say, this is an offense in terms of our bylaw enforcement. I think when provincial commissioners were giving the overview of the operational units that they are working with, it includes the metros and everybody. So that then takes, when the operational plans are drawn, they will make a reflection of those forces that will be in place, and the bylaw enforcement then warrants the arrest of these particular individuals that are doing jaywalking. I know there is that one incident that made a noise in Gauteng, Jimiston area. The enforcement thereof, it's supposed to happen, and those people cannot be jaywalking. I think they were arrested even before we have known that they robbed people. That goes into the dark places every week. When the provinces submit their operational plans, they will include the hotspot areas. So what we can do as the law enforcement is to enforce our laws in patrolling those particular areas that are identified as hotspot areas to suppress crime that are happening in those areas. There is a question of the figures of the minors who are foreign nationals. I think I can give an overview of Operation Valumkoti that was incepted in December 2023, that was specifically looking at the areas of illegal mining, which to date we have seen in the past financial year, from March up to the end of April alone, 1,712, which gives us a figure of 6,486 persons arrested during Operation Vala Umkoti. And in terms of the breakdown, as Mr. Abramji's question is concerned, in terms of the nationalities, I can give only the highlights of the top 5 nationalities that were arrested during these operations, which include South Africans, total of 1,383. We have Zimbabweans to the total of 1,161. We have Mozambicans, 746. Basotho nationals or Lesotho nationalities, we have 764. Other nationalities, it's less than 500, the numbers that we are having, but that includes the Somalis, Nigerian, Bangladeshi nationals, Ugandan, Ethiopians, Pakistanis. The list goes on and on and on. I think from my side that will be the operations that we are only focusing on Thursdays. What we do on the operational plannings is to look at the trends, crime trends and patterns And with that intelligence that will be received, we will then look at any things are done, will then suggest what type of operation and where this operation should be done in a week. Adding on the presentation on firearms that the National Commissioner has indicated that this year, that is the number that have been confiscated, but in the same financial year, those that were confiscated in prior year, during our distractions, we have so far distracted in 2023-24, 33,886 firearms, and ammunition it's 696,236 that were destroyed. Thank you.
General, thank you so much for that input. I believe that we need to really wrap this meeting up. It's been such a pleasure to just hear in-depth analysis of crime patterns, but also on a provincial level. I'd like to thank the Minister of Police. Oh, there's still no input.
The National Commission wants us to respond to your convictions.
Okay, I suggest this because we do have someone that's waiting outside. We've got another press conference that's outside. We've already bitten to some of their time, but I just want to close this conference up. But to also just give an indication that we still have the people that you would like your responses to come from. So we can definitely conduct some one-on-ones after this. But thank you very much, General. Thank you very much, DM. Thank you very much, Generals, as well as the editors and the analysts that are here, as well as all the senior management and the senior members of the SAPS.